Welcome to Ode to Games. My name is Logan Plant, joined today by Zach Ross. How's it going, Zach?
It's going good.
And Kevin Valine. What's up, Kev?
Nothing much. How you doing?
Doing well. We are recording just hours after the Game Awards 2020 wrapped up. A lot of awards given out. Some pretty cool announcements came out of this thing. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to start our 2020 wrap up ourselves, talk about some of the games that we missed, some other news items to get to as well. Cyberpunk, bit of a rocky launch. We're going to talk about that, as well as these two guys who both plan to play the game on launch. Maybe those plans have changed. We're going to get to all that. But let's get started with the Game Awards. I want to start by talking about the winners of the awards.
The actual awards.
And I think, as we kind of thought, The Last of Us Part 2 absolutely cleaned up. It dominated all night. Just scrolling through here, it won Game of the Year, went to Last of Us Part 2. Performance, Laura Bailey, who was Abby in The Last of Us Part 2. Best narrative, the best game direction, the best audio design, the accessibility award, the action adventure award. It just absolutely dominated. There were only a couple things it was up for that it did not win. Art direction, it was up for. That went to Ghost of Tsushima. I think there was maybe one or two others that it did not win, but almost everything it was up for, it won.
It was not in the score, was it? It was in score. In Final Fantasy.
Yeah, and that went to Final Fantasy VII Remake. Some other notable winners. Among Us won a couple of awards, even though it did not come out this year, which was kind of an interesting case when it was nominated, but a big success story of 2020. Animal Crossing did win Best Family Game. Best RPG was also Final Fantasy VII Remake. Ongoing game was No Man's Sky, which I did not expect at all. I thought it would be Fortnite or something like that. So I thought that was a pretty cool one to see. Hades, Best Independent Game. Half-Life Alyx VR, Best VR Game. And Hades also won Best Action Game. So that's a rundown of most of the ones. Community Support. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout won that one. Tell Me Why won Games for Impact, which Zach played. Zach played
I did.
that one.
I voted for it too. I was very happy to see it win.
Yeah. So any thoughts on these winners as a whole before we get into the big announcements from the Game Awards, Kev?
It makes sense that The Last of Us 2 would win a lot of these awards. I think it's the type of game we talked about it when we were predicting that it's a game that's tailor-made to win these kinds of awards. I think just with its big budget, Naughty Dog behind it, kind of makes sense. And it fits for a lot of these. Game direction, though, I was kind of hoping that Final Fantasy VII would get that one, just because they did something so radical from the original to this one. The game direction completely shifted, but The Last of Us, it makes sense for a lot of these. You kind of have to.
Yeah, there was a couple I really wanted it to win. I really wanted it to win Best Sound Design, which is a weird thing to care about. But I just remember when that game came out and just reading about how they created the Sephiroths. Is that right? Seraphites, not Sephiroth. The Seraphites whistling language and how each whistle actually had meaning. It's just insane. And then the zombie noises are just fantastic. So that one was good. And then I do think it's Game of the Year. I think it's a narrative. So yeah, almost everything it won, I thought that it should have won. But yeah, best game direction, some of the other ones it did win, I'm like, that could have gone somewhere else. But for the large majority of these, I thought it was great to see Laura Bailey win for her performance of Abby, because she's a phenomenal character. She got a ton of hate on the internet this year for that character. So to see her get to end her year getting recognized for that performance, I thought was really cool.
Yeah. And, Final Fantasy won a couple, Ghost of Tsushima won one. So everyone got a little bit of something, but Last of Us did walk away with most of the awards. But I was happy to see that at least there was some recognition on some aspects for everyone, at least a little bit. At least the ones that I cared about.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good overall on the awards front. But really, the Game Awards is much more about the announcements. The on-screen time is far more dedicated to announcements than awards, which is fine. I mean, it's a pretty good mix. I really liked this year's show. I just sat and watched the whole thing. I thought it was a good mix of announcements, and the performances were all really awesome. And then the awards too. But let's get to some of the big announcements. The first one, we learned earlier in the day of the Game Awards that Nintendo was going to bring a new Smash Brothers fighter to the Game Awards, and they kick it off right away with the Smash trailer. It's how this thing started. And man, I adore the Super Smash Brothers cinematic trailers to reveal fighters. They are so cool. And this was one of the most highly produced one in a long time. It was kind of a callback to the game's original story cutscene reveal, where the big white monster, I don't remember its name anymore, is attacking, and it's all the characters with some of the DLC characters were in this cutscene too for the first time. And then the big thing is cut in half, and Cloud goes, Sephiroth? And I was like, are you kidding me? Sephiroth's in Smash. I think this is such a cool pick, and that trailer was just amazing. Having played both Final Fantasy VIIs and watching Advent Children this year, we just did our spoiler cast about the game.
It's a good time.
Yeah, it was awesome. The shot of him skewering Mario, and then it's actually like through his overall loop. That's so awesome. It was so funny and charming. I'm super hyped about this edition. Zach, what do you think about Sephiroth joining Smash?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I was listening to it, and One Wing Angel started playing. I was like, why do I know this song? And then, Sephiroth showed up. So I thought that was super cool. Another big sworded anime fighter comes into the mix. I'm sure he'll play super uniquely. I don't actually know. But yeah, I'm more than happy to have Sephiroth into it.
Kev?
It's just really cool to me that we didn't hear anything really about Sephiroth. With a lot of DLC characters, you have a lot of predictions, and some of them come true and some of them don't, but you usually hear a lot of discourse about certain characters. And right now, I feel like the biggest one would be Sora. Crash is also another very popular pick. Sephiroth, I don't think I ever heard anyone talk about Sephiroth, at least not recently.
No, so, I think I heard some stuff a long time ago.
Like it was cool to have a moment where it's like, I did not see that coming at all. Had no inclination that was going to happen, and boom, there it is.
So yeah, it was super awesome. It's not a widely requested one. I did see a lot of people mad that it is just another sword fighter, but this is one of the most iconic video game villains there is. Like, this is a huge ad for the game. One thing, I hope that Square is less stingy with the amount of music tracks they let Nintendo have, because if you remember, there are literally 2 songs for Cloud from Final Fantasy VII when he was added in Smash 4, and then in Smash Ultimate there's 2 tracks, and there's only 6. I think there's 16 Dragon Quests. So that's a lot better. So I'm hoping that with this ad of another Final Fantasy character, this is another shot to kind of make up for what they did in the past and add a bunch more music. So I hope there's more music. I'm excited to see what the stage is. We're getting the Mr. Sakurai Presents is happening next week. I believe it's next Thursday, so we'll probably talk about that on next week's show. But yeah, I was super excited about this one. Smash Ultimate, when it was starting out, it was really kind of about heroes and villains. It was about bringing in villains for characters that were already in Smash, but the villains hadn't been represented before. Ridley and King K. Rool are the 2 biggest examples of kind of filling out the roster of iconic villains. So adding another villain in there in the DLC pack is really cool, because we haven't seen a villain so far in either Fighters Pass either. So even though it is another anime sword fighter, I do think it's a really diverse pick for the roster. Another third-party character from a franchise that only has 1 rep, and it's another villain. Like, I'm super excited about this one.
And it's not Fire Emblem, so
it's not.
It's a little bit less egregious. At least it's Sephiroth. I feel like that's a much cooler pick than a bunch of Fire Emblem characters. If we're going to get another anime sword fighter, I feel like Sephiroth's a pretty good pick.
Yeah, I agree. So excited for that. And real quick note on Smash, they also announced that Byleth, Terry, and the Banjo-Kazooie amiibo are coming out on March 26th, which is turning into a big day. It's turning into a very big day for games. It's the same day as Monster Hunter Rise, which also got a new trailer that showed off, I believe, 3 new monsters, and I think confirmed Rathalos is coming back. I'm pretty sure I saw Rathalos flying. I only saw the trailer once, but that was cool. And a demo is coming for that game in January. And 3 more amiibo, so that's a 6 amiibo day now for Nintendo. And then a game I'm very excited about, It Takes Two, which is the next game from the A Way Out studio, is also coming out March 26th, and it got a very in-depth gameplay trailer. Lots of co-op fun. It looked
Yeah.
really creative, like A Way Out, but a very different tone. It's vibrant and colorful and goofy. This was one of the highlights of the show for me.
Yeah, I think the characters looked super lively, just based on what it showed, even though it was just a little bit of story and a lot of gameplay. I think that the two characters bounced off each other really well, which is, I think, something that they did really well in a Way Out. And playing A Way Out with Logan was one of the best video game experience I've ever had, and this game looks super fun. So I think it'll be another really good interactive, either local co-op or online co-op experience for people to just hop in. It's probably not very long. But
it's about 15 hours.
15 hours? That's
I just saw that
good.
headline.
So it does look, that'll be pretty amazing, I think.
Yeah, that game just looks great, and it has the same deal that A Way Out had that, Kevin, I believe you actually used.
I did.
Because you played online with a friend where you only had to own one copy of the game and the other person could play with you as long as they were playing with someone who had it. So, Kev, you excited for this one at all?
Yeah, I didn't realize that it had been shown off because I was kind of running around to try and watch stuff after I got off work. So when you guys mentioned, like, oh, I gotta just quickly take a look at this, and I think it'll be fun because with A Way Out, that being more grounded in reality, I feel like it was still a great time. But with this, in a more whimsical setting, I feel like they have a lot more opportunities to just get a lot crazier with what they want to do. You see, a bunch of different platforming sequences that just wouldn't happen in a game like A Way Out. And I feel like the setting that they decided to go for this one will lend itself really well to having a bunch of crazy ideas that can use the co-op idea from A Way Out in this one to create a bunch of new gameplay styles that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, because A Way Out already really pushed the envelope with its experimentation, like going to a 2D brawler to a top-down runner, like a bunch of different stuff. So now that they have even more chances to be creative because of the setting they've chosen, this kind of imaginary world, like it's going to be cool. There was some cool stuff in that trailer. I almost started looking away halfway through because I'm like, I don't need to see more of this. Like I'm going to buy this game and play it. Yeah. So that, I thought that was a phenomenal trailer. And A Way Out is just such a great co-op experience. I'm just really excited for the next thing from that studio. Got some other stuff. BioWare, who was in the news recently for some of their top people leaving.
Woo.
So there's kind of some question marks about where that studio is at coming out of Anthem. Anthem was supposed to get some big revamp. It still hasn't really happened yet.
Nothing has come out on Anthem. Man, that game.
No. Yeah.
Yikes.
And now we got teasers for Dragon Age 4 cinematic trailer, which was revealed back in Jeff Keighley's Summer of Gaming event. And then we got the last one big thing was a Mass Effect teaser, just saying Mass Effect will continue. And of course, we know that the trilogy is coming out early next year. So BioWare is working on both of these things. To me, this feels like really a reset button post Anthem, right? And post Andromeda. Yeah, just two games that really did not work out well for them, and it really seems like they're trying to gain good favor back by really pushing out the message that they're working on their two biggest franchises right now.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't seem like there was too much to go off of. These were really this was kind of in the same vein as what Bethesda did with Elder Scrolls and Starfield, where it's just like, we're working on them. Don't worry, we got these in the pipe. So there's really not too much to say beyond the fact that now we know that they are both in the works. We'll see how they turn out. Mass Effect or BioWare's track record recently has not been great, and with some studio heads leaving, who knows where that's going to leave these things? But as of right now, at least we know that they're working on them.
Yep.
I want to play Dragon Age Inquisition. I have it.
Yeah,
I got it real cheap on PlayStation.
Yeah.
I do want to play it, and that
$4.
was, I think that was the last entry in that franchise, which was in 2014. So it's been a while, and by the time this Dragon Age game is actually done, it will have been a long time since the last one. So I actually thought that that one last thing was Starfield briefly, because it just it just started out with these really generic shots of space.
It took a long time to get to Mass Effect. I was like waiting. I was like, is this going to be a terrible reveal? Am I not going to care? But I'm happy to see that Mass Effect's not dead in the water, because it is a series that I do want to get into at some point.
You have a better opportunity.
It's not there yet
to do soon with the collection coming out.
Once the collection's out, once they're working on a new game, I think that's probably going to be my best chance to hop into the series.
Yeah, I'm gonna play that trilogy on my PS5. I think I've wanted to play it for a long time. I was waiting for a trilogy remaster on PS4. It didn't happen until after the next console was out. But yeah, those are games I'm pretty interested in. So yeah, hopefully it can return to what people really liked about the first few compared to Andromeda with the new one. But you got to think that is years and years away. You got to think Dragon Age is going to come out first, and that game doesn't look close. So
yeah, they've been showing concept art and things.
Yeah,
recently.
Yeah. So it's like what you said, Kev. It does feel like a Starfield Elder Scrolls 6, where we learned about those 2 years ago now, and it's just nothing.
Yeah.
Sense. Yeah.
Man, I have to wonder what the pressure is going to be like on BioWare for those games after Anthem and after Andromeda and EA breathing down their necks. God, I just have to wonder what the development on those is going to be like. It's probably not going to be great. But it's hopefully they turn out well.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. Anthem, I feel like they're just going to sweep it under the rug. I do not think it's going to get that big revamp that it was supposed to.
I don't think they want to remind people that game exists.
Yeah, I don't either. So yeah, big presence from BioWare though at the Game Awards, but it kind of felt awkward to me because they did just have that news about their studio heads leaving, and then it was like, here's the 2 next huge projects we're working on, and it's like, are these gonna be good? So yeah, those are 2 big question marks for me right now, and I'm sure a lot of other people. Some other announcements. Disco Elysium's getting a final cut on PS4 and PS5 next year. Tons of new content, it looks like they're adding. Every line in the game is going to be voiced.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy. Yeah.
Oh,
that's nuts.
So I'm glad. I've been waiting on this one. I'm glad that I've waited now for this final edition to come out, because this totally looks like my kind of game. I'm excited to jump into that one. Zach, you played some of this.
Yeah, I played a good 10-ish hours, maybe not quite that, with a buddy of mine. We were playing it together, local co-op. Well, we were just playing it. It was only a single player, but we were playing it together. And we never got the chance to finish it. But from what I played, it was absolutely incredible. I loved it a lot. The writing is really engrossing. The characters are interesting. The story is a mystery. It's really sucks you in, gets you enthralled. I knew it was coming out on PlayStation at some point. I didn't know it was going to be a final cut with a bunch of new content. That's definitely an added bonus. I think I might wait until PS5, just because it's coming around that time. I'm thinking about it, so I might just hold off a little bit until I get a PS5. But I'm definitely super excited about this. And Logan, I think you'd absolutely love this game.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to jump in on the final cut. It looks great. Yeah, I didn't know you could dress up your character and stuff. That was a surprise to me.
Whoa,
yeah,
cool. Gotta buy it now.
Little stuff.
Character customization.
No, I was just surprised. I didn't know that was a thing. I thought that looked cool. But yeah, that was a highlight here for me. Just run through some of this other stuff. Back for Blood is coming out next year. It's a spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead. I feel like we knew about this, but knew almost nothing about it prior to this. I remember seeing the name Back for Blood a few months ago.
I feel like it was kind of like a leak or something like that, but I'm super excited because I really liked the Left 4 Deads. And I already talked to some friends about this, and we're excited to play it.
Nice.
'Cause I miss it. It's like Turtle Beach. Is that who's working on it? I don't remember. But
Turtle Beach is the people that make the headsets. Turtle Rock is the studio.
Turtle Rock? Yeah, Turtle Rock. Yep. So that looks good. I'm excited about it.
And then we got Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. One of the hardest games ever is getting a new entry next year, along with a cool Capcom arcade thing. It looks like they're going to make some of their older games accessible on Switch. I don't really know the details of that. It looked like there might be some microtransactions or subscriptions involved to get new games. But so we'll have to see how that all works out. Perfect Dark is getting a reboot. This is from the Initiative, though, not from Rare. Perfect Dark would have had the original on N64 and then an Xbox game, which people did not like.
Which I believe was either a launch or early 360 game.
Yeah. And then that franchise just went to die along with most of Rare's other franchises.
Where's Viva Cloud? Come on.
Yeah, but that's coming back. Arc 2 featuring Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel. That was exciting.
That thing was long. Yeah. I was watching it the whole time
long.
What?
Yeah, it was like a Vin Diesel movie. Yeah, it was going on forever.
Yeah.
Yo, we get Fast and Furious Crossroads, and now we get Arc 2, starring
also
Vin
a
Diesel.
very bloody trailer.
Yeah.
A lot of fake, not great rendered blood.
Yeah, it was like really cartoony.
I mean, isn't
Yeah.
Ark
when the
known
rest of the
for
game wasn't.
not looking great?
Yeah,
Isn't that kind of
that's
Ark's
fair.
MO?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Vin Diesel wouldn't be
Callisto,
anything bad.
the Callisto Protocol, which is coming from the creator of Dead Space, and he said he wants to make it the scariest game ever on console.
Hell
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
So yeah, this guy has his own studio now, and this is their first debut game. It looks like they've sunk a lot of money into it, and it actually looks pretty good. I'm actually a little interested in it. I was kind of iffy at the beginning of the trailer, but by the end, I think it'll be pretty good.
Yeah, that was a lot. The Game Awards, basically any big mainstream event that Jeff Keighley does, always has a couple great announcements for me sprinkled in there. But out of this 3-hour event, probably an hour and a half of the announcements were like, here's League of Legends, here's Warhammer, here's Valorant, and it's like this stuff that I just do has a lot of fans.
I'm not,
not dissing the games, but it's like that whole last hour. I remember I was watching right before we were recording. I'm like, I'll be ready in 40 minutes. And then I fast forwarded through like the next 20 minutes because it was just like League of Legends update, Elder Scrolls Online update. I'm like, I just don't play any of these. Yeah. I mean, cool for fans of that to get those updates. I mean, for me, that's like essentially, here's a brief Monster Hunter Rise trailer with a demo. It's like most people don't care about that. I was like, oh, sweet. So yeah, it did have a lot of that. A lot of generic zombie shooting games.
Yeah, there was a lot of those.
There's so many.
Ton. Yeah.
What was up?
Walking Dead coming to Fortnite, you guys. Let's go.
Yeah, and Master Chief. Yeah, Samus. Not yet. We'll see.
And Red versus Blue for some reason. I'm not sure. I was only half paying attention.
Yeah. There's one game. The trailer was way too flippin' long. It went on
not Ark
forever. Like, I want to know how long this one was. It was that South Korean game, Crimson Desert. And the game looks cool. It was like a medieval fantasy third-person action adventure.
So long. There was like different classes, and they were all like gameplay to cinematic. It was weird. Yeah, it was so long. The game looks cool. Like, I'm gonna keep my eye on it. But that trailer was so long. But it was a cool looking game though. And then Fall Guys Season 3, it was just one of their like goofy cinematic trailers. We didn't actually see any of the new levels. No.
But looks like you're going to chase down these little walking robot penguins in one game, which looked really cute. I also thought I saw one where you kind of skydive for the crown, which I thought looked cool too. And it's like whoever grabs it when they're falling really far down to it first. But that's coming next week. So I'm sure that I'll dive back in for like a couple hours and then put it down until the start of the next season.
Speaking of that, I don't know if this is on the docket, but they showed off a new Among Us map, and it was like early 2021. I'm like, that game is going to be dead by then. Why are they waiting?
Yeah, we'll see.
You got to be quick on the draw with these things.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, for sure. Those are pretty much all of the highlights. Kevin, your favorite thing that was announced or revealed, and then how about one thing you were disappointed in or wish had been there that wasn't?
Yeah, there wasn't. If I look at a lot of these announcements, I don't think there was really anything that I felt was like tailor-made for me. Shout out to Xbox for getting the Yakuza games, though. That's cool.
Yeah.
They're getting the Yakuza Remaster Collection and Yakuza 6 coming out next year, so that's cool. Cool for them. So I'd probably go with Sephiroth, honestly. Sephiroth one, just because it was so cool.
Yeah.
And a lot of this other stuff wasn't super tailor-made for me. I am looking at Disco Elysium, the final cut, because I've been looking at that for a while, and I was like, okay, that looks pretty good. So I was glad to see that there. I've been also waiting for it on PlayStation, because I don't know, I don't play too many things on PC. So now to see that coming out, I'll get into that eventually. Man, as for a disappointment, I don't know.
If you don't have one, that's okay.
I guess I didn't go in with crazy high expectations for certain games that I wanted to see. I didn't really have anything. So I don't think there was anything here that really disappointed me. The amount of zombie games was a little bit weird, though. I was,
Yeah,
I was
that was
kind
a
of caught
lot.
off guard by that. You had,
Yeah.
you had Back for Blood. You had what was the movie tie-in game? I don't. What,
There were so
there's a
many. I
movie
don't even
tie-in
remember what they
zombie
all are anymore.
game. There was the
Yeah.
Western zombie game.
Oh,
Evil
Dead,
Dead.
the game.
Evil Dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
That actually looked pretty good because
But it
I
just
recently watched the
melds-
Evil Deads for the first time.
It just all melds together.
It
so I guess in
does,
terms of
yeah.
a disappointment, just the amount of zombie games, because not only was it a little bit weird, but I felt like all the games kind of just melded together, and it's probably not good for those games either. When you're just like, which zombie game am I trying to remember right now? But nothing too specific as a disappointment.
Zach?
Yeah, so like he said, Sephiroth just Smash. I know you're probably going to talk about It Takes Two, that as well. Disco Elysium. More importantly, I'd like to highlight. I really do look forward to Back for Blood. I think it's going to be a real rejuvenation for Left 4 Dead fans. Those games were super fun, especially to play it with a handful of your friends. And it is another one of those zombie games. Yeah, that I do think that those were overplayed at this. But cherry picking. Also, the Evil Dead one I thought looks. I didn't think it looks pretty great, but I like the Evil Dead, so I'll probably try it out. Honestly, I didn't think it looked very good at all, but I might try it out depending on the ratings. So that's good. And then really my only expectation going to this because of Logan was Breath of the Wild 2. We didn't get anything, so I was kind of disappointed about that. We got a small Hyrule Warriors trailer for some reason.
Yeah, just a commercial.
I think they just wanted Legend of Zelda there, just to keep tradition. But yeah, that was probably my biggest disappointment because that was pretty much my only expectation going into this thing.
Yeah, my favorite thing was Sephiroth. It was just so awesome. Like, just really cool. I mean, Final Fantasy had a pretty big presence in that. It was up for Game of the Year, won a couple of other things, and then just to have that kind of be a part of the celebration too, a big year for Final Fantasy VII. That was just awesome. It Takes Two, I thought looked phenomenal. I was excited to see that again. And then there's this one game, I'm totally forgetting the name of it. It was the one about you need to go on this road trip to cross the border to get out of the country. And
there was the two road trip games back to back. The mother-daughter one.
Not that one.
And then the one you're talking about. The one that looks... I think the one you're talking about looks way better. It was... Oh my God, what was it called?
It's like Route 96 or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And it looks really cool. It's kind of procedurally generated where you have a ton of player choice of you're basically hitchhiking to get out of the country, and it's you choose who you want to get picked up by or not. Like these different people will pull over, you can get in the car with them. And just from the snippets they were showing, if you get in the car with the wrong people, you could end up as like part of a bank heist. You could end up chilling at an arcade, playing arcade games with this like teenage boy. Like there's so many different possibilities depending on the people you ride with. And like they said, there were like hundreds of different ways this thing can go. So that game I thought looked really cool. And it was one to keep an eye on, I think. I'll have to find the official title and put it somewhere.
It's either Road 96 or Route 96.
Yeah, 96 Roads.
96. No, I think it's... Yeah. I just want to point out that the other one I was talking about, the mother-daughter road trip one, I was it's from the creators of Gone Home, and I was kind of into it until the characters were like 2D animated in a 3D space. I thought that didn't meld really well. And also when he announced the game, he was like, play this game with two very familiar voices, and then it like announced the two actresses. I was like, I never heard of either one of them. I'm like, who are these people? I don't know, but it didn't look as good. And then the other road trip one that Logan was talking about looked way better, so I'm more excited for that one.
I'm scrolling through trying to find it. I can't find the title right now, but I am a little bit disappointed by Nintendo's presence at this thing because they have usually revealed something new at the Game Awards. Marvel Ultimate Alliance they published, and then Bravely Default 2 last year they're also publishing. And this year I think the game that's kind of filling that hole is Monster Hunter Rise. That is the big Switch exclusive that's coming soon. But that wasn't the new reveal. So I was expecting a new reveal, which we didn't get. But other than that, I thought it was pretty good. Got some good announcements, and the performances were awesome. We had Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam doing the song that's featured in The Last of Us Part 2, which was awesome. We had the orchestra from London doing that Mario medley featuring songs from Super Mario Bros. All the way to Odyssey. That was super cool. And then the Game of the Year medley at the end was also really cool. So
there was the Persona Scramble song at the beginning.
I didn't see that.
I did hear about
Yeah,
that.
so it was Lin, the singer, and the Persona band.
Did they do
in
Last
Japan.
Surprise or something? Or
I don't remember, but it was good.
Cool.
Persona
I didn't.
music,
Was
so
that
it's got to be good.
Yeah, it was the one Persona song. You know that
nice?
one. Yeah.
Yeah. The didn't see it coming or whatever.
Didn't see it coming.
Yeah, that's Last Surprise.
Yeah. Nice. Beautiful, Zach. That was really nicely done.
Yep.
It's like I've watched the performance now.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I don't need to see it. Yeah. But that's a wrap on the Game Awards 2020. We're going to have a lot of cool Game Awards 2020 stuff of our own over the next 3 or 4 weeks. We've got some fun segments planned to close out the year.
The
I always love
coming back.
the Odies. I love the Odies. Sounds like dog food.
It sounds really bad.
I love them though. I'm excited for the Odies. We're kind of kicking off the Odies later tonight.
Yeah.
So
that'll
be fun.
For the Odies.
Yeah, but let's get into some of the other news first. Cyberpunk is out, and
maybe it shouldn't.
It's been a rocky launch.
Yep.
Did you say it shouldn't be out? I agree. It should not be
if
out.
you don't have a high-end PC, it probably shouldn't be out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's also not running that well on Series X or PS5. Like it's running better than on the base consoles.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it sounds like
it's rough.
It sounds like for the next gen because it's not. They don't have the built for next gen version out yet. This is just running backwards compatibility. The performance I've heard is a lot better in terms of just frame rates and resolutions and things. But in terms of the glitches and all that stuff, it's still there. But man, just some of the things that I've seen and heard from the PS4 version. I have a friend who started playing it today, and they had people just random characters glitching around and like just sitting in the air. They had a moment where their character was moving around and they weren't inputting into the controller at all. The textures look super. The pop-in is crazy in some of this stuff. Like the textures streaming in takes forever. It looks ugly on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. My God.
Yeah. It looks really nasty, like some PS2 era stuff in there. Like it looks, some of the faces look so gross until they load in, and it takes sometimes over a dozen seconds for that to load in. And before the patch, there's a 43 gigabyte patch alongside another patch. Like there's a ton of patches for this game already, but before them, it runs at 19 frames a second. It's just horrible. It's like how did they release this game in this state? And I was talking to you earlier, Kev. How did they ever think this thing was going to come out in April?
Yeah, when there wasn't next gen consoles out yet.
Oh my God!
No one had any chance to even get a semi-playable version of this game if they released it back in March or even over the summer and fall. If you didn't have a PC, you would have been totally boned. But for all those people that have it on PlayStation and Xbox, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and don't have next gen yet. Ooh, that's rough. That's rough.
Yeah. And the discourse around this game has been pretty toxic too. Reviewers scoring it not that well, and the internet just dogpiling them when they haven't even played the game. And and then the whole thing about how there were parts that induced seizures. They had no seizure warning.
They added a late game seizure warning.
Yeah. And then a lot of people in the trans community are having serious issues with how the game is portraying that side of things as well. It's like the launch has just been pretty ugly.
It probably won't win games for impact.
No,
accessibility.
No.
Yeah.
It won't.
Yeah, and just on a personal note, just seeing how hypersexualized the entire game is. Like there's just these ads everywhere for it's kind of like GTA ads but turned up to 11. And to me, it's just so over the top and unnecessary and unappealing to just have that thrown in your face all the time. Like I saw a tweet that's take a shot every time you see a dildo in Cyberpunk, and it's like I don't want that.
I saw a tweet about that too. Is this Saints Row 3?
It's it's just so hypersexualized for no reason, and it just feels very, I don't know, immature to me just based on what I've seen, and just not a world I really care to experience personally. I have literally negative interest in this game. I was on the fence about it, but just seeing everything since it's been coming out, I don't know what it's going to be like when it's playable and it gets fixed, but right now this kind of seems like a huge disappointment based on the hype that was set for it. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I think my hype has died down quite a bit. I'm currently on standby. Don't know if I want to. I'm definitely going to wait on it. I don't know if I want to wait for fixes to current generation or if I'm just going to wait for next gen altogether. But right now, I'm not super on the I got to play it right now train, especially since I've got a PS4. It wouldn't run very well. It'd be pretty buggy. I don't need that. I had a friend who lost all of their character creation after like 2 hours because it crashed. I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. I get very emotionally attached to my character creation. So yeah, it's just sad because I was super excited about this game, and then all this stuff. I'm just now I'm just waiting it out a little longer. So we'll see. And you did bring up. I just want to say this is completely unrelated, but you brought up GTA, and I want to say that they announced another massive GTA 5 online thing at the Game Awards. I'm like, stop doing that.
Where's
just make
GTA
GTA 6.
Where's GTA 6? I haven't played GTA Online in years.
I forgot to say that. Yeah, but. Yeah, Cyberpunk just a little disappointing, which is sad because there was so much hype built up around this game because it has been in the works for so many years. And if it had come out in April, I can't even imagine.
Kevin, where are you at in terms of playing this game?
Well, my copy is getting shipped to me eventually. I got it $10 off on Amazon, so I'm like, whatever.
Good enough. Yeah.
Luckily for me, I still have Yakuza
I
I'm
don't
playing
pre-order.
through, Sakuna that I haven't touched yet that I want to get to. So I've got other things that I can play in the meantime. I've got a couple more games that I picked up on Black Friday. And I wasn't a person that was just super excited about this. I don't have a bunch of experience with the previous source material of Cyberpunk 2020. I don't have too much... I haven't played too much of CD Projekt Red's games in the past, a little bit of The Witcher, so I wasn't super hyped like some other people were for this game. So I think that helps me when I'm getting a little bit let down by everything that's going on with it. At this point, I'll have it on the shelf, and I'll either wait until there's a bunch of patches and it becomes playable on PlayStation 4 or when I get a PlayStation 5. But for sure, when I do get my copy in probably 2 weeks or so when it gets here, it's not going right in the PlayStation. It's going to go on the shelf for a little while.
Yeah, just really weird discourse around the game for how many years we've been talking about it and how many years people have been looking forward to it. So yeah, and it just got really toxic out there. Like Twitter was pretty gross for the days after reviews came out.
It's to be expected.
Even before those reviews are coming out, people were like, "Be ready," and that's what happened. And it sucks that you have to expect it, but it's where we're at with these huge games and the reviews. Where if one review doesn't sit right with where you think the game should be reviewed at, you get super mad. It's like, why does this happen? I feel like with most high-profile games, that's what happens. If someone gives it a lower review score than what people think it deserves, then people just dogpile on that reviewer, and it's dumb. People have their own likes of what types of games they like, or maybe they had a different experience than somebody else. It doesn't really matter. You got to play the game for yourself.
Yeah.
See, if I reviewed Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, I'd give it a worse review because my golden spatula didn't appear, and Kevin would have given it a glowing review because he had a great time. See, it just depends on the experience.
And I think it probably also depends on how much people were willing to look past the amount of bugs and glitches. I feel like some people have more of a tolerance for that, where it's like, okay, this game's glitchy, I'm expecting that, that's fine. And some people where it's like, no, this is a deal breaker for me. And for a game like this, that can affect scores, and that's fine. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. And just like, I know that a lot of the internet has a lot of people who do a lot of gross, unacceptable things, but some of the stuff I read about, like on the epilepsy part, this one journalist was being really outspoken about trying to get it fixed or get some sort of warning in there at least. And people were literally sending them links to videos that induce seizures. And it's like, that is just horrendous. It's just unacceptable and disgusting. So I've been pretty sickened just by the whole conversation surrounding this game lately. It's not all on the game's fault. I mean, I've actually been reading a lot about how the development cycle of Cyberpunk 2077 has had a lot of like transphobic posts or jokes on social media and things like that in the past, which isn't great either, that they didn't pick any of that criticism up along the way, because the community has been very vocal about that. And then, of course, the Cyberpunk 2077 fans, even though they haven't played it, just dogpile on people for speaking up about being offended or feeling that it's misrepresenting them. And it's just, I don't know. It's just been really nasty.
See, I think one of the positives about not playing it on release is that I can play it like 4 or 5 months from now or whatever, and everyone will have shut up and moved on about all that stuff, and all the stuff. Hopefully, some of the stuff's patched, and I can have an experience that is just devoid of all these literal pieces of trash on the internet and everything that they're doing here. Hopefully,
God, and hopefully you'll have a better game too.
Yeah, when you more stable experience on all platforms.
Yeah, so that is the story with Cyberpunk so far. Don't expect any impressions from us in the coming weeks, because it doesn't sound like we're playing it for a while.
No.
So, they should have just let it cook for another year. They shouldn't have ever said it was coming out in April, for starters. And they should have just said 2020, and then if it gets slipped to 2021, that's totally normal. Like, I don't know why this thing was rushed out the door as much as it was. Honestly, it should just be a next-gen title. Like, I
think that is kind of the bigger call there. Whether or not it got delayed again, I think what we've learned from this is that, it probably should have just been PC and next-gen. But with how long it's been in development and how long we've known about a release window, it's almost like they were forced to have a current gen option, and people who have current gen are kind of getting screwed over here. At the very least, they have the free upgrade option. So for people that have bought the game already and aren't returning it, but don't want to play it in the current state that it's in now, at the very least they know that whenever they do pick up a PlayStation 5, 1, it's backwards compatible, and 2, when that next gen version does come along, it'll be free of charge for them. So at the very least, there's that.
Yeah, for sure. And I've kind of been thinking, which would you rather have? A only next gen game, so you have to upgrade consoles to get it, or a broken version on the console you do have? It's like, I don't want to say it's a cash grab, because they didn't intend for it to run this poorly at launch on current gen consoles, but it's almost like, I mean, you guys are both, like, Zach, are you considering maybe not playing this till you have your PS5?
100%.
Yeah, it's like, how many people are actually going to finish this thing on a base PS4, or say,
how many people can?
Yeah, exactly. And now we're getting that last delay where they talked about how many consoles it's coming out on. Yeah, now we know why. And it was also a concerning sign when review codes went out only on PC.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't play this thing. Every review was on PC, and you're like, that's a nasty sign for this game. So, kind of a big, like, let the air out of the tires with this one is kind of what it felt like at the start. I hope it turns around, at least in terms of the game quality. I hope that they're patching in that warning for the seizure inducing scene, because that's good. Yeah, that's in.
Yeah,
so they are listening to criticism.
Hopefully they'll actually have a way so that it's not just a warning, but there's a way that you can turn that off for some people.
Yeah.
That seems pretty egregious.
Oh, yes. It's going to be a seizure. There's no way to stop it, so you'll just have to close your eyes. Don't worry about
patch in for that at some point.
Yeah, for sure. Yep, so that's Cyberpunk. Let's move on. Persona 5 Strikers. We talked about it last week. The Western release was officially revealed coming February of next year.
Yep.
I don't really have much to add on this. Kevin, do you have anything else to say?
Just, there's the official announcement. Now we don't have to worry about them like being like, oh, that wasn't what we meant. It's here. It's coming out. Just good to have that confirmation.
Yeah, I'll just say, I think for Persona fans, it's going to be great, because it's looking like it's incorporating a lot of Persona elements, like the showstoppers. Is that what they're called? Or are they called something else in Persona?
Oh, God.
I don't remember what they're called. I might be thinking of a different game. But they have like those moves, those ultimate moves, which look very similar to Persona 5.
Yeah,
all out attacks.
it just seems kind of like what Age of Calamity just did, just doing a great job of incorporating Musou gameplay without making the world feel different from Zelda or in this case Persona. So
yeah, from what I've heard,
I think it was cool
from people that have played it, they have said that it feels more like Persona than it does a Dynasty Warriors type game, which is I think what people want. So it looks pretty good.
Yeah, so that's cool and to keep your eye on next year. Scott Pilgrim also coming out next year on January 14th, and the creator is trying to get a physical release.
I hope that happens. God, I hope that happens.
Yeah.
With this game specifically, out of every single game that's ever existed, this is the one that needs to have some form of a physical release.
Yeah.
But excited for people that are waiting for that. January. It's almost here.
The Spyro 4 is teased in a Crash 4 art book. There's one page where it's like this huge art landscape, and then in the very bottom of like the left page, Spyro is sitting there, and then under him is like a big 4. So Toys for Bob could be teasing Spyro 4, which would be awesome.
Oh my god!
What else would that have been? That has to be that.
Yeah,
What else
it has to be
it. Possibly be.
Yeah.
Congratulations on Crash 4 from Spyro.
Yeah. And Toys for Bob did do the Reignited trilogy, and then they made this Crash sequel. So I would love a Spyro 4. I really enjoyed the trilogy.
Yeah, this game's
Toys for Bob killing it. They're doing a good job.
Yeah. So that, I mean, maybe next fall, like maybe next October. I don't think it would be that ridiculous to think that, or maybe in 2 years. But I'm looking forward to hopefully some official news on that. Another not so good story: Monster Hunter movies pulled from theaters in China for a racist joke.
Yeah.
So we won't say what the joke is, but apparently it's a callback to a well-known racist, like, nursery rhyme almost.
And unfortunately, I was the only one who actually knew this nursery rhyme. Apparently, you guys did not.
I did not know it. Yeah, I did not know it at the time.
No, I don't think I did either.
But yeah, that's not great. I did not expect this movie to be good, but that's just, you never want to make headlines for that. How does in 2020 how does a line like that in a movie get approved in 2020?
Not only was it, kind of racist, it was kind of poorly written and a little poorly acted. Because I saw the clip, which is one of the few clips I've seen of this movie, and this movie looks questionable.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then Monster Hunter World got review bombed on Steam by a ton of people, and Capcom released a statement basically distancing themselves from the movie, saying, hey, we did not write or produce this.
Why are they still working with these people? They should have learned after all the Resident Evil movies being absolute garbage. Why are they still working with these people?
And World did just do the movie tie-in quest with the movie character in it.
Yeah.
So they're intertwined.
Yeah, they are.
But yes, the man who makes these movies is not great.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's a great guy.
Maybe.
He should
Actually, I don't know. Debatable.
Debatable. Yeah, Monster Hunter movie comes out on Christmas. Zach and I will be watching it on
absolutely
the biggest weekend of 2021 right now with It Takes Two, Monster Hunter Rise.
Are we going out to get 6 amiibo?
I am getting 4 amiibo that day now because I'm getting the Magnum Alo and then the 3 from Smash. I'm passing on the Palico and the Palamute amiibo. I don't need those 2. Yeah. And then another big story this week: Halo Infinite had kind of a re-reveal. It's coming out. It has a fall 2021 release window. They showed off some screens from the first multiplayer map and some other details about this thing. They're trying to make it the most beautiful Halo game ever now.
Yeah.
After all of the negative stuff from the summer when this game was revealed. But man, they just went out and delayed this thing a year. That's a big deal.
Did we know it got pushed to fall, or because I thought it was going to come out earlier than that?
No, we just knew next year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was expecting way earlier than fall.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
I think it's great to see. I mean, this Halo game cannot be bad. No. It just can't be. Halo 5 left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. How the Master Chief Collection is good now, but how it started was not good. And even Halo 4, a lot of people do not like. So this game has to be good.
343 needs a hit.
Yeah, they haven't had one yet.
No, they haven't had just a universally praised game. They haven't had a Halo 3. They haven't had a Halo Reach 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it was a good move. I think Xbox also knows that it has to hit, and I think they also understand now that with the way things are going in terms of getting these consoles stocked, I think it kind of makes sense for them to be like, all right, I don't think we need to rush this as much with everything that's happening right now. Let the dust settle on these early shipments. Yeah. Everybody who gets them, that wants them on day one, has them, and by the time we have the stock and the ability to have a bunch of these on store shelves for people, then we can be like, hey, Halo's coming out soon, and then we can get people really excited for it. With the way things are going, I think this kind of works out for them, even if it does kind of suck that you have to wait a year.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's fine. I was thinking about console launches lately, and when you can't get an Xbox right now, and if Cyberpunk's any indication, you probably don't want to be playing Halo Infinite on your Xbox. You're probably just not going to want to.
Man, that also, I didn't even think about it, but that just kind of calls into question even more these companies being like, yeah, we want to support last gen systems.
Just
and
kill it.
Man, how long is...
Cut it off.
If Cyberpunk is any indication, I know Cyberpunk's a huge game, but man, what does that say about some of these ones coming down the pipe? Horizon, for example. What are those going to be?
Would not be surprised if Horizon becomes a PS5 only title. Not at all.
I'm not believing in cross-gen anymore. I think once a new generation comes out, they should, keep it alive for the old one alive for a little while, and then just cut it off and move on. I don't even care.
And
at this point,
I think about in the past when it's happened. I look at Nintendo; they've done it twice that I can think of, probably more times, where they say they're going to support a console, and then the second that new console has enough of an install base to justify only putting out games on it, they abandon the old one.
Right. It's just wait. You just keep the old one in the wings until you know that the new one's going to be enough of a success.
Yeah, the 3-pillar strategy, I think, is the most famous example, which is the DS wasn't supposed to replace the Game Boy Advance. It was going to be the third pillar of Nintendo's strategy. And then the second the DS started selling like hotcakes, that went out the window and the Game Boy was done. And then kind of the same thing happened to the 3DS, because it got games for a couple of years after the Switch came out. And then when the Switch just kept doing insane numbers, and I'm sure they kept supporting the 3DS because they didn't know what was going to happen with the Switch coming hot off the heels of the Wii U. So they continued supporting the 3DS, but then when the Switch got its footing, the 3DS was done too. So I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happens here. Oh, we'll support the 100 million people on PS4. And then in a year, it's like there's 20 million... 10 to 20 million PS5s out there. Yeah, I think it's done. I don't think that you're going to see 3 years of PS4 support from first-party Sony studios like they're saying right now.
I think it gets a little bit murky too when you have all the different SKUs of the old consoles. Like if you're talking about like 360 or PS3, obviously the base and the Slim and all those are a little bit different, but I feel like they were running similar hardware. But now when you've got the base, which is a lot different than the Slim, which is a lot different than the Pro or the Series X or One X.
One X.
God, Microsoft.
No worries.
I feel like then it becomes even more complicated where you're like, well, this game can run on one of the previous generation. You can get it running on a PS4 Pro. You can get it running on a One X. But on the base and the Slim, it won't. And it's just like, man, save yourself the headache and just move on to PS5 and Series X.
Which, going back to Nintendo for a second, which is why I have a really, really tough time buying into the idea of a Switch Pro, because I just don't think you want to segment a base like that. And that's essentially what's going on with PlayStation right now, and it's what we're seeing with Cyberpunk right now. It's like this set of consumers can't experience the game to its intended vision. And that's what happens when you release stepping stone consoles. And I think we're really, really seeing that now, that we have the 3 tiers of the base, the Pro versions, and the next gen versions. So I just think, I don't know how long that strategy is viable with stuff like this, because it's not like a phone where people upgrade it every couple of years and just like pay it off every month on their new plan. I think Microsoft wants it to be like that eventually, but I don't think it's like that right now. So
I'd want that.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money.
No,
like a PS5 Pro and an Xbox
What are they
Series X squared. Like I don't
X2, X.
Yeah.
Where they
Yeah,
got the naming system.
I just don't know how long if that's going to prove to be the right moves later. I actually, did you guys see that the Nintendo UK store rep said that the Nintendo Switch dock has been discontinued?
What?
Yeah, they said that the individual dock has been discontinued, which could have just been incorrect, but it has fueled rumors
stupid.
It's fueled rumors that the Switch Pro is actually just going to be a new dock that you put your current Switch in to make it more powerful in TV mode.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I think I'd be down for that because it'd probably be like $100 to upgrade.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that'd actually be pretty awesome.
Don't have to lose your data or your Switch or anything like that.
Because then you can still play like indies and stuff like that. Yeah, you can't play those games in handheld mode. No. But I think a lot more people are likely to pick up a Switch Pro dock than upgrade to a half step up of a Switch. So I actually think that'd be really cool.
Be a lot more cost effective for consumers.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see. Anyways, Halo Infinite coming out fall 2021.
It'll come out eventually.
And Kevin, that is it for the news.
You forgot the most important one.
I did. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Shiryu and Ichiban are getting cologne smells for Yakuza's 15th anniversary. They're also doing a bunch of other like merch and stuff. There was like merch boxes that you could get. Apparently, the one with Majima's construction hat sold out in like literal seconds. They had like a bunch of different boxes and things for the 15th anniversary. I was hoping that we get a new game announcement, but all that we got in terms of like a big game reveal was more so for the Japan audience. The PS5 version, the worldwide version, is going to be coming out in the spring, and it has 60 frames per second. It has the English dub alongside the Japanese for the Japanese audience, which is interesting. And then all of the DLC that was, I believe, packed into the Western version, but was not packed into the Japanese version, is also all going to be. So also it's going to be a like standalone in terms of like, I think it's got its own like trophy list and that sort of thing. So that makes me believe even more that what they said about the saves not being able to transfer over is kind of a done deal, which frustrates me when I look at Xbox and they're like, hey, all the saves are fine, transfer them all over, and then PlayStation's just like, no. So that was a little bit worrying for me. I was really hoping that it was going to be one of those things where they'll come out sooner to the launch and be like, oh, we actually found a way, here it is. But from seeing this and seeing how it seems like it's going to be its own separate thing, that the PS5 version will be kind of separate, and that the saves are probably not going to be cross save, which blows, but what are you going to do? Go to Xbox. I guess.
Yep. Switch over.
That's your option.
Yep. All right. Yes, that is it for news. Let's talk about what we've been playing. This ain't going to take too long. None of us have really been playing anything. Zach, you got another plat, right?
Yeah. No one saw this coming. I had this weird surge of Minecraft over the week. It started with us playing it shortly after we recorded last week. I was like,
also, Minecraft was not stable when we were playing it.
No,
it was not.
For a second, we thought we lost our world because it crashed and it was like, cannot recover the world.
I crashed like 3 times when we were playing. Logan crashed a couple times. Kevin crashed a couple times. It was for some reason, one of the patches just like bugged this game out. I think it got fixed because I was experiencing it for a little while. Once we finished playing, I was like, man, I was really feeling that session in Minecraft, but we only play like once a week because Kevin lives in Japan. So I'm like, all right, I'll play it with my buddy. So we started playing like the day after, and he's like, do you want to go for the platinum? And I was like, absolutely. So then we set off on this journey to start a new world. So we started a new survival world. We just went for it. I looked at all the trophies that I needed. Some of them were really stupid, like build a railway of 500 blocks long in a single direction.
I mean, these are the ancient trophies / achievements from when this game came to like 360.
There's like 13 expansions, but none of them count towards the platinum, so it doesn't even matter. The rarest trophy I think was kill a skeleton from 50 blocks away with a bow and arrow. That one I just like trapped a skeleton inside some fences and then like counted out 50 blocks and then shot him from a distance.
Nice.
And then like an hour before the show, my buddy and I, we just went in to fight the Ender Dragon. It was the last trophy I needed, was hop into the end portal and beat the Ender Dragon, and we managed. It actually was not as difficult as I remembered it being. So technically, I also added it to my games beaten in 2020 list because the credits rolled. So it got added to the list, and then it got added to the list of platinumed games. So I've officially beaten and platinum Minecraft, which
congrats.
Which is only a 1.2% platinum trophy, which is one of the rarest platinums I have. I think it's tied with Dishonored 2. But I think it's more because there's so many people own this game and they're just casual players who are just playing it. So I think the numbers are kind of skewed. It's kind of skewed a little bit.
Yeah, I was looking at that too, and I was like, wow, that's really rare. And I'm like, wait.
Because it wasn't a difficult platinum trophy to get at all.
It's not going to be that much.
Exactly. Yeah. So... But it was a good time.
Nice.
And we need to play more.
Yeah, we do. It's all the timing.
Yeah, we do.
I'm almost done with the Dragon Quest demo. Probably gonna. I don't know. My December has become very unplanned.
It opens up.
It opened up quite a bit because I haven't played Yakuza yet. I haven't played Spider-Man yet. I'm holding off on Cyberpunk. I got time. Maybe I might dive into Dragon Quest 11 or Yakuza.
Quick side. We've got Cyberpunk. It's got its whole host of issues. Does the save situation around Yakuza matter to you at all, or does that not factor in at all, and you'll just play it on PS4?
I feel like the Yakuza games are ones that I don't typically go back to after I beat them. So I think once I beat Like a Dragon, I won't be tempted to super go back. And if I ever want to play it again, I would just start over on PS5.
All right.
So I don't think it's that big of a deal breaker for me. I would just play it on PS4.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder which game you're going to pick next.
Me too.
Logan, what have you been up to?
I am just on a Zelda high right now. It's been a big kick ever since I beat Age of Calamity. I need to stop messing around in all these Zelda games because I got to beat 5 games in the next 20 days.
Oh, geez. Yeah, you're falling off on that.
To get to 50.
Zeldas aren't small.
Yeah, so I've been playing a bunch of the original Legend of Zelda, which I've never played too much of. I've dabbled before, but I'm playing it on Switch Online. That NES app is getting some use. Fine. And I'm actually really enjoying it. I think it's a lot of fun. It is pretty esoteric. It doesn't tell you much to do, so I'm just kind of exploring and stumbling upon stuff myself. And I just, as a total Zelda junkie, I just love seeing all the stuff that has carried over from that very original game. Because I think often A Link to the Past is the one where people are like, yep, this kind of set the stage for what Zelda has been for the 25 years since it. But there's a lot in the original Zelda, which is still around. And so that's been really cool. There is, in the dungeons, sometimes there's this like secret passage you can enter. And then you go down and it turns 2D very briefly. And it's literally Bowser's Castle from Super Mario Brothers. Like it's the same like little gray brick blocks. And I think the music is almost the same too. And it's like, whoa, they're using assets from Mario
Ran
Brothers.
Out of time.
That's so cool. Yeah, that was just so cool to see. It's like, and just piecing this stuff together. So I'm having fun with that one. I recently started Wind Waker over because the last time I played was the devastating glitch. So I want to try and finish it again. I'm avoiding that entire square on the map where it happens in, because I think if I don't go there until I need to, it'll be fine.
Okay.
Because basically I think it's if you shoot down a ship, there's a chance that the ship doesn't come back ever. So I'm just not even going to go over there. I'm just not going to go there.
Avoid that. Hopefully the ship doesn't move around and try and leave.
Yeah, yeah, I think it stays in this one grid on the map, so I should be fine. But that game is just delightful. That's one of my favorite Zeldas, so I've been playing that. I've been playing Breath of the Wild, revisiting it. Yeah, I'm just playing a ton of Zelda stuff. And I discovered this incredible YouTube series I want to give a shout out to. It's called Boss Keys, and the name of the channel is The Game Maker's Toolkit.
Yeah.
And this guy named Mark, basically, he wanted to make one video about dungeon design in The Legend of Zelda and decided to do it. He needed to play every dungeon in every Zelda game. And Then he decided to make one video about every Zelda game. So he starts with A Link to the Past, since that's where the modern dungeon design does really begin. And then he goes chronologically through the entire Zelda series and the series of videos, and he talks about the dungeon design and how it evolves game over game. And eventually he breaks it down into these 3 different categories of Zelda dungeons that if you like ask yourself these 4 questions, you can categorize which type of dungeon it is. He has these incredible graphs that he builds for the dungeons where basically it lays out like you have to get a key to go to this certain door, and then you have to get the item to unlock this pathway, and he just marks it all out in this graph. And a wide graph means it's a really non-linear dungeon that you can explore however you like, and a really narrow long graph means that it is a really linear dungeon that you kind of just fight room by room by room. And it's just amazing, and has made me rethink these dungeons as I'm playing through them, and I highly recommend it. He's also done videos like that for all the Metroid games and some other Metroidvanias like Hollow Knight. He did one for Dark Souls. So it's a super fascinating series, just kind of breaking down Zelda dungeon design. So honestly, in my free time, I've been watching those instead of playing games, because they're like 15 to 20 minutes each, and I've watched like 15 of them in the last week. I'm just obsessed with them. They're so well done. Yeah.
What's gonna happen to 50 games, man?
I can do it. I've been thinking about it. Okay, little sidebar, real quick.
Yeah, I don't have too much time. Quick rundown.
New Super Mario Brothers 2. I never finished, which I found out last week. I'm on the last world. That's really close. Untitled Goose Game, I never finished. I'm really close to the end of that too. Donut County, that's like a 2-hour game that I'm like 1 hour into, so I'm almost done with that one. That's 3 right there. So Super Mario Sunshine, I can plow through and finish. I only have like 2 or 3 worlds left in that, so I can get that one done.
Okay.
And I'll probably beat Wind Waker before the end of the year. So it can happen.
What if you don't do it?
If I don't do, I have
you finish at 49, you will never forgive yourself.
Yeah, you got it.
I have the last week of the year off from work. I have a vacation that week, so if I'm not done,
you'll make it happen.
I'll get it done. Yeah.
Yep.
It'll happen.
There's a will, there's a way. Good luck.
Thanks, man. Let's get a quick Yakuza update. How's it going?
Oh, it's great. It's super good.
Terrible.
Nah, it's not terrible. I'm 35 hours in, chapter 11. So I'm a chapter in front of what I've heard is the huge level spike. I've heard you need to be in the mid 40s, and I'm about level 33. So I'm a little concerned that that's just gonna go in the crapper when I hit.
Is there a grind? Is there
I've heard there's a
notorious grind? Oh no.
Yes, I've heard there's a grind, and you open up the Coliseum apparently, and that's where you're supposed to get your levels. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be gnarly. But as is in true Yakuza form, once the story starts kicking in, it's so good. Because as you're going along, there's just all of these different questions, and you know, you're trying to figure out the world. You have all of these different factions in the city that you don't know how they all work together, and then you start to piece together what their relationship is and how they all work together, and you have these other little tidbits from before you went down to Yokohama, and then those start to come together with all the other factions that are here, and everything kind of just comes to a head, and it's like, okay, now it's getting good. And now it's like, oh, everything's tying together. This character was here for this that I didn't see coming. And it's fun how well they everything just ties together in a way that I guess I didn't expect and I didn't see coming. Like, I didn't see some of these characters and be like, oh, they were part of this thing all those years back. It's interesting how they tie everything together. And that's kind of how it gets super hype. And there's still a number of chapters left, so the story really has a lot of room left to breathe. Obviously, I don't really want to spoil anything that happens, but I can say that it's real good. It's
nice.
The story is really good. And then, of course, all the side stories. Man, there's one with a circus that is super bizarre and super fun. It's like a 3-part sub-story, and the last one is just super ridiculous. I just got to that and finished that. That was really fun. Forget Me Not is, I believe, the name of one of the sub-stories that's probably my favorite in the game, just because the tone of it is very different from a lot of the wacky Yakuza submissions. So I really appreciated that and didn't see the twist in that sub story coming.
Is
when
it
I
sad?
first
It
started
sounds sad.
It's fun. It's
Oh god.
it's funny. I like it a lot. I've been doing a lot of the, you've got the racing mini game that I've done a little bit more of. That's fun. I did a bit more of the business management, which is interesting. There's a whole thing with like the shareholders that you have to battle the shareholders. They have all of these like objections to your business, and you have to like use your employees to fight the shareholders to get their approval to keep going. Super weird and dumb. And of course, because it's Yakuza, you can have the weirdest things as your like managers. Like in Yakuza 0,
a chicken.
The chicken is one of your managers for the retail properties. So you've got that weirdness that's in there. And I'm finally starting to get the full party together, because up until chapter 10, you don't really have a full party, and then they kind of just throw everybody at you. So we've got a bunch of new characters, so I'm trying to mix and match and see how they all play. They've all got their different play styles. So not only do you have the job class system where you can kind of mix and match there, but now you have 2 new characters added to the mix to kind of change up how you fight.
Do characters come in at your level, or do they come in at the level they think you're supposed to be?
I don't really know, because I had one moment where I was level like 32 or 33 and the character came in at like 29 or 30. And then I had another moment where the character came in like 2 levels over me. So
that's weird.
It was funny because I had a moment in the story where one character came in. It's like, oh, I'm so glad you're here. You're going to help us out. You're going to, you're super strong. You look strong. And then he's like 4 levels lower than the rest of my party and was useless because the equipment that he had on him was terrible. I was like, you were meaningless in that fight, man. Thanks for showing up, though. It was a nice story moment. I will say that moment there was a really nice and touching story moment, but the gameplay was kind of stupid because he was just super weak. But yeah, there's just so much going on and so much to do in the game. I think it's a testament to how they design these games, where I am super engrossed in the story, obviously, now that it's really kicking in. And yet, once a new chapter hits and I've got all of these new sub-stories to do, I will go out of my way to go and do all those sub-stories before I go back to the story that I'm already super invested in. And I think that is just a testament to how well they craft all of these different sub-stories. They had a callback to Yakuza 6 in one that was super fun and really dumb. They're all super different from each other. They're their own condensed little stories, and it's super fun to experience all of them. So I've just been having a lot of fun doing the story and seeing all of these other sub stories alongside the racing and the property management and all that stuff. It's been really fun. I don't know what it'll be like when I get to the grind. We'll see if my opinion changes a little bit then. But as of right now, I'm still having an absolute blast with it. It's a really good time. One of my games of the year so far.
Nice.
Yes.
Hey, Kev,
0 awards.
I don't think we have time for the games we didn't have time for.
That's poetic.
We are also running late. Well, we've got a couple of weeks here at the end of the year. We'll have a number of different segments leading up to the one and only Odie's second annual Odie's Awards. That'll be the final one, but I guess we'll have to push that to next week. So look forward to next week's games that we didn't have time for that came out in 2020. We'll be sure to cover
We still don't have time for.
We don't.
Well, we don't. We don't have time for them.
But you can look forward to that when we talk about those next week and in the subsequent weeks, where we'll be talking all about games that we did play in 2020, games that we didn't, everything about the games landscape in 2020. But yeah, because of that, any final thoughts from you guys before we wrap this thing up?
I have 2.
I just want to say I'm super excited for end of the year wrap ups. I like doing those.
Me too. I love them. I love reflecting on the year. I'm excited for that. Number 1, next year is Sonic's big 30th, and we still have heard nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, well, they were supposed to do all the stuff this year, and we got nothing at all. There was literally 0.
We still have December 20th, you guys.
Oh, that's right. Mark your calendars, everybody. It's going to be a big day.
We did get confirmation. We got the movie this year, and we got the announcement of the sequel for the movie. So there was some stuff, but nothing on the games front.
No.
So hopefully there's still some sort of celebration in the works for next year.
I beat Sonic Mania this year for the first time.
Oh, nice. Forgot about that.
I don't think that was in their plans for this year.
That was
Sonic Mania.
And then my other final thought is that I ran into a free copy of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, so I might play that sometime soon.
All right.
Yeah.
Get excited.
That happens.
No, I picked it over Cyberpunk, and that was before the Cyberpunk reviews dropped, and now I'm like, sweet. I feel like I made the right decision.
Yeah.
Probably.
So
I do wonder, I was talking to you about it before. I do wonder what you'll think of that game, considering that Assassin's Creed is one of the poster childs for the type of open world gameplay that you do not enjoy. So I'll be curious what your thoughts are on Valhalla whenever you're around playing it.
Because I got it for free, like I picked it because I've just heard it's like the best looking game besides Demon Souls on PS5. So I might just like run around for a few hours and just look at it, and probably will never finish it, and that's okay. So it might
$0, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard to beat.
Not losing anything from that. All right. That is going to do it for us on this week's episode of OD Games. Remember, next week we'll be talking about the 2020 games we didn't have time for, so look forward to that, as well as all the other news that will happen from now to next week. But we are here on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our website, odgames.com. The video podcast is up on YouTube, on the OD Games YouTube channel, so if you want to watch the video version, you can watch that there. We're on Twitter at OD Games. We're on Twitch at OD Games as well. We're on. You can send us an email at odgamescast@gmail.com. For Logan and Zach, I'm Kevin. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week.